Hey everyone, Tech Dad here, and today we are discussing whether or not you can actually do real work and productivity on the iPad Pro, much like you would on a traditional desktop computer. I get this question a lot, and I also get a lot of differing opinions on it in the comments. For example, we have this comment here where a gal says, I replaced my MacBook Air M2 with the iPad Pro M4 13-inch, and I love it. Thank you for great content. However, there are a lot of differing opinions, such as this one here, where this guy doesn't even believe that I don't have a laptop. He says, you really do not have a laptop, desktop, PC, or Mac really in 2025? If you really only use an iPad for productivity, I suggest you might have problems that needs consideration by a professional. Ouch. And there are so many more opinions coming in on my channel. And by the way, I really appreciate the comments and the feedback. If you watch my channel regularly, thank you for your support. I'm happy to receive positive or negative feedback on my channel. But what's the answer to the question? Can you really use an iPad to do work on? And the answer really is, it depends. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. I want to discuss the different levels of productivity that people have in their various jobs and what might be the right device or even device combo that fits their needs the best. I also want to discuss the price factor since so many people complain about that on my channel. They say, hey, look, man, the iPad Pro is just way more expensive than a MacBook and you can do a lot more work on a MacBook. Well, I want to talk about that issue and we'll get to that in just a little bit. All right, so let's get into it. Now, before we can get into talking about devices, I want to use an analogy to help demonstrate the point I'm trying to make here. And so I'm going to use a different product to talk about first, and this is a product that a lot of American dudes really love, and that is trucks. And I'm going to pick on the Ford brand for a little bit here, so hopefully you like Ford trucks. So there's a couple different ways you could categorize how you want to buy a truck. The first is by workload and the job that you're trying to get done with your truck. So let's just break down trucks by workload. And so Ford offers a very basic small little truck called the Ford Maverick. And this truck is for light duty work. And so in this truck, you get basic functionality. You got some light towing features and light hauling capabilities with this truck. Very simple, very light duty, and also very affordable. But then they have a mid-range truck, the Ford Ranger, and so this is for medium duty and is a medium-sized truck, very popular in Europe actually. So this truck has medium functionality. You've got a little bit more towing muscle, a little bit more hauling capability, and it's medium size, so you don't have this massive truck driving down the road. Finally, you have the Ford F-150, which is considered the heavy-duty truck, and this truck is for heavy-duty work. So you're going to be doing some heavy towing, heavy hauling. You're going to be pulling a large camper or a large boat, something like that. And so if you're going to buy a truck based on your workload, you need to buy the right one that's going to get the work done. If you were doing a lot of hauling on a construction site, I mean, you could technically do the medium level truck, but would you want to use the medium level truck for something that really requires heavy duty work? I mean, theoretically, you could get the job done, but it's going to take a lot more strain on your truck. It's going to take a lot more time and effort. Probably not worth it. Probably should just get the right truck for the right job. Well, in the same way, Apple categorizes their devices by workload and what people want to do on them. And so the first device I want to talk about is just the base iPad. And so the base iPad is designed for light duty. It's designed for basic functionality. It's designed for emailing, web surfing, content consumption, and is also really affordable. I actually have a video demoing this little iPad. I just opened up a brand new one the other day. You can check that out. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Now, the iPad Pro is also a device that Apple offers, and it's medium duty productivity is what I like to call it, and this is the lane that I'm in. And so you have more functionality than the base iPad. For example, you can open multiple apps. You can also connect to a secondary display, and it actually works just like a computer. You can't do that on the base iPad. The base iPad does not have Stage Manager or that ability to connect to a second display. You also have what I call medium weight productivity apps. So these apps on the iPad are missing a few features. I'll pick on Microsoft Teams for a minute. So I use Microsoft Teams every day, but it's missing a couple pieces of functionality that the computer does have. For example, you can't share your secondary display. You can only share the iPad screen when you're running a meeting. That's really annoying. I'd really like to be able to share my secondary display. It's something you can do on a computer. iPad app just doesn't have it. Another great example is the Adobe Express app. So I use this app all the time for creating my thumbnails, and this is great for a quick and easy application application to put something together that looks professional, has good fonts, helps you shape the art, the pictures inside. Is it the full-blown version of Adobe? No. That's why it's called Adobe Express. It's targeted for people like me, and it meets my work case. It's a medium-level productivity app. But if you need something that's heavy-duty, you're probably going to go with something like the new MacBook Air that just came out. So with a MacBook, you've got heavy-duty workloads that you can complete. You've got high-end productivity apps, the full Adobe suite, the best Microsoft app features. You've got apps like Final Cut Pro, but you can also add plugins to these apps to add even more features that you just can't do on iPad right now. Although I hear that's coming soon for Final Cut Pro for iPad. You can connect multiple displays, not just one. The iPad Air supports 2 displays. I believe the MacBook Pro supports up to 4 displays. So it's more of a workhorse, and it's just gonna be more of a workhorse than the iPad Pro. So you have to decide which work category you're in. So maybe for you, if you're in that medium category and you just do some medium level productivity work, you're in the office, you're crunching through Excel spreadsheets, you're maybe making a Microsoft Word document, you got to do some video editing, they've got Final Cut Pro for iPad. There are medium level productivity apps. There are even coding apps. I've even seen that you can get a terminal app for the iPad Pro. There are JavaScript coding apps, but again, is it worth the trouble of paying for subscriptions for those apps to work correctly? Or are you just better off using a MacBook? So hopefully that helps you answer what device would be right for you based on the workload that you're trying to complete. So there are different ways to look at products, and the second way I want to look at it is by price point. And I want to go back to that truck analogy. Let's just talk about that medium level truck again, that Ford Ranger. So you can get a high-end price point on this medium truck. So if you get the Lariat version, you get all the bells and whistles, you might get an off-road package, you get the premium version of this truck, and it comes in around $55,500. Well, a lot of people make the argument that, hey, you could just get a base model F-150 that's a way better workhorse and does a lot more productivity. So if you get the low end on a heavy-duty truck, there's no bells and whistles, there's only 2 doors. The price is cheaper, though. It's $49,800. And a lot of people try to apply this to the MacBook versus the iPad Pro. They say, well, you can get a MacBook for a lot cheaper and it does more work. That's true. The MacBook is going to be the better workhorse in the end. But let's look at those devices. So if we look at device by price point, and we'll start with the iPad Pro. When you buy the iPad Pro, you're getting the best display, you're getting the best cameras, you're getting the best processor in a tablet, you're getting the premium luxury experience for a consumption device. In addition to getting all those premiums, you also get a device that can do medium grade productivity. Not top of the line heavy duty workhorse productivity, but some medium grade. And for a lot of people, that's enough. It's enough power to do the productivity they need, but it also gives them the best consumption device you can buy. Now, you might compare that to the MacBook Air that just came out recently, the 13-inch model. Beautiful new device. It's a base model Mac, and it has an average display and average features for a Mac, but you get the full heavy-duty workhorse operating system with this device. It's not a great consumption device. The iPad certainly beats it in that area, but it's cheaper. It starts at $999 right now, which is a heck of a deal for any Mac. A lot of this just comes down to what kind of workload you're doing and what are your preferences for your devices. If you have a medium grade productivity level job like I do, it's just light office work and some mid-level photo editing and graphic design, the iPad Pro is great, and that's what I've been using for almost a year, and it has more than met my needs. And at the same time, it gives me the top level consumption device experience. And I also get enough productivity to get my work done effectively. Some people, though, their work requires that heavy duty workhorse, and a lot of folks are thinking of picking up the new MacBook Air to be their workhorse, and then pick up the cheap iPad for their consumption needs. Just depends on your preferences. So hopefully this video helped you kind of categorize where you are in your work needs and whether or not the iPad Pro can meet your needs. Let me know what your device preferences are in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you all about it. That's all I got for you. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.